sometimes people like to ask me, hey, is 100,000 of Algorand's native token called ALGO enough? Now, personally for me, I think it's enough, again, for my case, even though that's not financial advice. The reason being is because let's take a look at this hypothetical scenario. Let's say ALGO, again, Algorand's native token, were to go to the price of $5 during this board, which is my price target for it, again, during this board. Now, at that point, 100,000 ALGO would be worth $500,000 because, of course, 100,000 times 5, again, 500,000. Now, people might be thinking, okay, wow, that's not that good. Well, here's the thing. The way you take a look at it is that theoretically, that's actually very fantastic, at least for me. Not to mention, if some people seem to think that, okay, $5 is, too much, let's say, they think it can go to the price of $2.50, right? $2.50. Even at that point, it's 250,000. Now, again, that's a very decent down payment for a pretty good home, in my opinion. Not to mention, let's say it goes to the price of $100,000, which again, some people may think, it's kind of bad and all this type of stuff. Well, really, I don't think that's bad at all. Again, still a pretty good down payment for, I would say, a pretty good home, right? Even still in that case. Now, let's say we tone things down to like 50 cents. 100,000 ALGO at that point, $50,000. Now, that may not sound that impressive at first glance, but I've seen some of my friends personally, right, who've gone backpacking, traveling throughout the world for multiple years with like pretty much less than that. Now, they're not living a VIP lifestyle or like they're not, living in these 5-star hotels, but they're still able to, at least have a good experience traveling, right? Again, it may not be the 5-star experience that some people might want to look for, but I'm just saying still, I'm just using that to put some perspective into that, right? So the way you take a look at it is that yes, 50 grand can't even buy a Tesla Model S that's new. Theoretically, in my opinion, even despite that, doesn't seem that bad. So really, even if we like reduce like Algorand's, native token called ALGO, the $5, point, right? We reduce that by 90%, even 50 cents, still doesn't seem that bad in my opinion, at least theoretically. Now, even besides that, if we take a look at something like Algorand, right? Some people seem to think that, okay, $5 for ALGO is impossible because Algorand is bad. Well, in my opinion, I think Algorand is actually arguably one of the best layer 1 blockchains out there. The reason being is because, some people like to say that, okay, you say it's fast, you say it's scalable, you say it's all this, but what's the proof? The proof's in the pudding, as they say sometimes, right? And I think Algorand has that covered because Algorand allegedly is the technology of choice for over 2,000 global organizations. Well, I mean, over 2,000. I mean, you got to imagine that. I'm not saying like, 200, 500, even 1,000 is actually even very, very impressive, right? Over 2,000. I mean, could you imagine that? That's how amazing Algorand is again. Not to mention, Algorand is very environmentally friendly. Now, allegedly, it's fully carbon neutral, which some people may think, okay, yeah, man, who cares about that? Well, I care about it. And quite frankly, I do believe that a lot of enterprises do care about that as well, because when you take a look at it, right, a lot of enterprises nowadays, they want to go green. They want to showcase that they care about the environment. So what better way to do that, in my opinion, than adopting, new technology, let's say, or just adopting technology in general that is environmentally friendly, much like Algorand, maybe, right? I'm not guaranteeing it will, but I'm just saying, not only is Algorand revolutionary, but it's fitting, with what a lot of enterprises are looking for. So when I take a look at that statistic, which in the really grand scheme of things, over 2,000 global organizations, it may not sound that, dynamic, but then considering how relatively up and coming still this whole blockchain technology space is when compared to how up and coming Algorand is overall, I think that's a very impressive figure, and that doesn't surprise me, especially again when I consider the environmentally friendly nature of Algorand, and not to mention its amazing A+ fundamentals, at least in my opinion. Now, keep in mind as well, Algorand currently, not too long ago, it was stated that it already had over 500 decentralized applications on its ecosystem, which I think is very impressive, by the way. And even if we take a look at something like Algorand, right, people seem to think that, oh, wow, take a look at the price of ALGO, it's going down, it's bad and all this type of stuff. Well, let me use Bitcoin as an example as to what I mean by this. ALGO going down in price, at least currently, right? Generally speaking, from its most recent top, it doesn't mean that it became like, bad or anything like that fundamentally. Now, the reason for that is because we take a look at Bitcoin. For instance, right, Bitcoin not too long ago was around $100,000. Now, price is hovering around $85,000, at least depending on, whatever is going on with Bitcoin, right? Of course. But I'm just saying approximately around 85,000 currently at the time of this recording. Now, if we take a look at that, that's around a 15% decrease, right? Does that mean that Bitcoin became 15% worse? Absolutely not, in my opinion. The Bitcoin ETF is still there, right? The amount of holders is still very fantastic, even despite a lot of people selling. Not to mention, still a lot of institutional investors, still a lot of enterprise adoption. Also, the maximum supply is still 21 million. It's not like Bitcoin randomly became bad and then suddenly, oh, that means it shows that in the price. Well, again, the price is determined by a lot of things, right? Like, for instance, in the short term, at least, a lot of panic selling, a lot of people exiting, of course, there's a lot of factors, right? Market sentiment, the economy, all this type of stuff. It's not like Bitcoin is fundamentally bad. So when people say that Algorand's native token called ALGO going down means that Algorand is bad, I just disagree with that. Again, if Bitcoin going down in price, isn't bad to some people, then how is this bad? It's not like Algorand became a meme coin or something like that. If it did that, then of course that would be very alarming, even though I do love meme coins. But then Algorand's not, that type of project, right? So if Algorand did something very surprising like that, then of course that'd be alarming. But then it's not like that, right? Fundamentally, it's still doing very good. So it doesn't mean it's bad. And keep in mind, if ALGO were to go to the price of, $5, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $42.5 billion, which is around a 26x from here, which at first glance may seem kind of crazy because people are like, whoa, what do you mean, reaching market cap of around $42.5 billion? What do you mean by that? Now, here's the thing. Take a look at Dogecoin at one point reaching over 80 billion, right, dollars in terms of market cap back in 2021. Take a look at Shiba Inu reaching around 40 billion, also that year. ALGO can't do this, again, around a $40 billion market cap. I just don't see why not, really, especially when I take a look at as of right now, there's over 600 million crypto owners according to Crypto.com research, which is, again, more than ever before in history. Take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption. Not to mention, we do know that historically altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they usually peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event, which if we base that off of April of 2024, in which the last Bitcoin halving event happened, that would actually mean around October this year. Now, this is just based off history, but in my opinion, I can't take a look in the future, so I'm going to take a look at the past. And again, historically, this has been the case. Now, each cycle, the economy, the sentiment, what really happens is just completely different. I'm totally understand that, at least in some cases. So again, I'm totally aware of that, but I'm still going to pay attention to near the end of 2025 regardless, because I do believe that this sport is far from over. I think there's way too many crypto owners, which is actually a very good thing. But as a result of that, I still think there's a ways to go. I think Algorand is a very fantastic project, and I'm not going to give up on it. And again, when people ask me, hey, is 100,000 ALGO enough? Theoretically, I would say yes, it is for me, because hypothetically, I could very well see ALGO go into the price of $5 during this bull run, even though that's not a guarantee. That's what I'm paying attention to, and I do believe that Algorand is a very amazing layer 1 blockchain, and I don't want to miss out on it. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.